we spent 2 hours pessimistically talking about the state of our union. True, giving you facts. I want to spend a little time in what is good and what is happening, which is why, for you coming here is the possibilities. When you look at having a Renita Shannon in Congress potentially, the possibilities are endless. We need more people like that, though. So I feel like I hear this a lot from our listeners. They get frustrated because their options become really limited by the time they get to the midterms, right? But I just told them, y'all had a chance to get Malcolm Kenyatta in Pennsylvania. He came in third. You see how hard he goes in the paint. Yeah. But y'all had an opportunity. For some reason, you ain't show up. Now you're stuck with Fetterman, who's he's cute with the Snooki and all of that. I'm not mad at it, but he's not Malcolm Kenyatta.
No.
So what are we looking at for 2022 and beyond?
I think that we are still not taking the threat seriously. So, let me just let folks know, the New Georgia Project is a nonpartisan organization, and we are aggressively so. It is our ambition, our highest aim, to civically engage Georgia's rising electorate, that's young people and people of color. And with that said, I am not blind, I am not deaf, and I damn sure am not dumb. And what we are witnessing in this moment is particularly national Republicans' refusal to govern, that we are looking at a slow coup attempt, that there's not a single statesman among them, right? If we're talking about the way that they've comported themselves and supported the January 6th insurrection, the way that they have sought to take over courts, the federal courts at every level, rolling back decades of legal precedent and like the constitutional rights that we enjoy, they are not playing, and they're not playing fair. And so I think that there is this desire to try to want to appear to be bipartisan, or to appear to sort of, consider the positions of both of the major parties. In this moment, the Republican Party is nothing more than a criminal caucus, period, full stop. They had a failed murder plot. They tried to kill the Vice President of the United States. It was a failed coup attempt, right? And what they couldn't do by crook, right? What they couldn't do with a violent insurrection, even though people died on January 6th, they did it by introducing over 400 anti-voting bills in 49 out of 50 of these United States. I need people to understand that these midterms are not the garden variety midterms. And the beef that you see between the Democrats and the Republicans, this is not your East Coast versus West Coast, like the Hatfields and McCoys. Like, this is something much more sinister, much more nefarious, and it could fundamentally change how we operate, how our government operates, how we function, how we live in this society. I will say this, we on a clock, y'all. We are on the clock, from climate, right, to this rogue Supreme Court. Georgia just got rid of the gun permit requirement. So it's guns everywhere. Anybody can get a gun.
Wait. No permit?
No permit.
Which means there's no way to trace or track. Oh my God.
That's exactly what it means. That's exactly what it means. And when we're seeing school shootings on the rise, mass shootings on the rise, they have removed the permitting process for gun ownership in Georgia. So you pull up and you can buy whatever you want. It's a problem.
Malcolm lays out the legal, the whole legal case and how they flooded and bombarded to try to steal the election because they wanted it to go to the Supreme Court, where Trump thought he was going to have loyalty. And then people held their ground and was like, this is illegal. I'm going to follow what the law actually is. But I don't think they're inclined to do that now.
They absolutely are not going to do that again. And I will remind your listeners about the 2000 presidential election where Katherine Harris, the Secretary of State of Florida, and Jeb Bush, George W.'s brother, who happened to be the governor of Florida, that like coronated and gave America a president that they didn't want before they counted every vote in South Florida. If y'all remember the hanging chads and the pregnant nipples, right? So imagine, right? Y'all remember? So imagine that. Right? That kind of Supreme Court, their inclination, the precedent that they've set in 2024, right? With this rogue Supreme Court where they have a conservative like majority that is literally slashing and burning 50, 60, 70-year-old legal precedents like Roe versus Wade. I'm deeply concerned about a case that's coming up this fall on the Supreme Court docket. It's a North Carolina case, Moore versus, I'll pull up the name, but the idea is that they are coming for voting rights and the Voting Rights Act. And again, what they were not able to accomplish on January 6th, they are attempting to do with the state legislature. And that's why local elections matter so much. Like, I know that people do the rhetorical, like, oh, local elections, et cetera, but the truth of the matter is that as long as states' rights is still an argument that we have to contend with, like Roe versus Wade did not die at the Supreme Court. It was DOA by the time it got there. We knew what they were going to do. Dozens of states had overturned it in their state. That's where the battle is. When they couldn't kill Mike Pence, they couldn't kill Nancy Pelosi, they couldn't steal the election for Trump. So they went back to the state legislatures and are trying to do it that way, right? Like it is the state legislatures, it's these governor's races, it's the city council races that matter. And it's every level of government. And so I know that there's this sentiment that both parties are trash, right? There's a sentiment that when it comes to the Black agenda, no one has risen to the occasion and risen to the demands of what we require in this moment. And I'm not gonna say that I don't share some of those feelings, right? But I'm not voting for who I'm trying to go out with. Right? I'm not voting for my bestie. Like, we're voting for somebody to go to work. We need people to go to Washington, D.C. and to go to state capitals and do our people's work. They are not playing with us. And if we don't want this to be the series finale of America, I encourage you all to treat these midterm elections like the presidentials, because that's how important they are.
Nse Ufot is here. You can follow her at NSE, and it's Nancy, SEU, F as in Frank, OT as in Tom, and at the new GA project, which is the new Georgia project, which she's the CEO of. Are you, walk me through where I have a list of the swing Senate seats, and every time I see, different Mandela, or, I see Charles Booker, or, Gary Chambers, I'm like, there's a possibility this could go down differently. It could be really Stacey Abrams, if she wins Georgia, the governor's mansion, the race, something could shift, because, Americans are fickle. And they're mostly followers. So if that's the wind blowing, it could be like Obama in 2008 all over again. Maybe there's possibility.
I mean, maybe. No. Listen, in my version of events, all of those things come true, right? Okay. That we send a historic wave of Black men to the United States Senate, who are really coming with a working people's agenda to do work on behalf of all of us. But I'm gonna tell you this, Louisiana is hard, right? And it's important to acknowledge that. And so we're going to have to dig deep. Georgia's gonna be hard. Listen, Senator Warnock raised $17 million in one quarter. I'm talking about history making. I'm talking about the #1 fundraiser in Congress, period, point blank. And he's running against a certifiable clown, right? And Herschel Walker. and it is not guaranteed. Right? And I don't think that people, so when we're talking about Warnock, who's polling, 10 points ahead of Herschel Walker right now because he's, said something else ridiculous, it brings me no comfort. Like, we have to go super hard because Georgia's passed Senate Bill 202, and there are similar states that have passed their own voter suppression laws.
Walk us through what that means exactly.
What that means is that the Georgia Republicans have given themselves all the tools that they need to overturn the results of elections that they don't like. For example, they've created 5 new voting crimes. 2 of them are felonies, 3 of them are misdemeanors, and some of them carry penalties of up to 10 years in prison and $100,000 in fines. For example, we are a civic engagement organization, nonpartisan. There are 3,000 polling locations in Georgia. We tend to adopt about 300 where we bring water, food trucks, dancers, live musicians, poets, and we have what we call our party at the polls. Now, if you give anything of value to a voter while they're waiting in line, you will be arrested and you will be prosecuted in Georgia. It is now a crime. What I say is that there's the new Republican takeover bill, that if a county board of elections is deemed to be, operating, I guess, inappropriately, or that there are concerns about how their ability to manage elections freely and fairly, then the state legislature gets to take over the elections for that county. And the first county up is Fulton County, the largest and one of the blackest and the most Democratic county in the state of Georgia. I'm shocked, Karen, shocked that was the first county where they wanted to test their new power. They stripped, and the country likes to give Brad Raffensperger his flowers for refusing to participate in Trump's criminal conspiracy to steal the 2020 elections. And I get it, like, he did not crime that one time, but his punishment by his Republican colleagues in the Georgia state legislature was that they completely stripped the Georgia Secretary of State of all of his major functions, including being the chair of the state elections board. They are not playing.
Moore versus Harper is the case from North Carolina that they're going to be listening, that the Supreme Court will be hearing, that will strip us of all of our voting rights if it happens.